All right, rock and roll. Welcome to the Scorched Earth Political Podcast. I'm your host, John. Appreciate you being here today on this beautiful Sunday. And if you could, kindly hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. Also hit those notifications. I'm giving you the rundown. You know the drill. You know the drill. If you're hip, if you want to be even hipper, that's the stuff you need to do. Okay? You just don't come out looking cool like me. You got to work at it. This is part of the process, everybody. This is part of the process. All right, here at the Scorched Earth, we welcome sinner, saint, friend, and foe. Everybody's welcome. And if you're a foe, you're probably not right, but, come on in. Put some comments in there. I will respond. I'll tell you, some of the trolls are pretty damn good. I got to tell you right now. I called one of them a dunce today. Yeah, I will personally respond to them. And it makes life a lot more exciting when you have a big celebrity like me, or maybe not like me, respond to your comments. You go, wow, this peon responded to my comment. Wow, that's great. Welcome to the internet circa 2025. So as we go through the little life section here, at the beginning, I go to my parents' house every day, and I am in this rut where the first hour is just doing chores. I get there, I got to do chores. Okay? My mom, kind enough, she makes sure the dishwasher gets, set, done, so I can empty out the dishes. I can put the new dishes in there. I can take out the trash. I can do a little. Today I put down I assembled a knee cart for the gardening bed, which I don't think they garden, but I'm glad they got it. You got to get those Amazon miles somehow. And I'm over there, and they have their lunch. I'm doing all this stuff. They're out there in the back room. They're watching TV. They're watching Rawhide. They're watching all these 50s Westerns, which, literally, I mean, that is an end-of-life thing, right? When you start watching 50s Westerns, you really have given up on the game. But God bless them. They're still firing along. And it takes me about an hour and a half to do all my little chores, sundews. Instead of honeydew, it's a sundew, right? So I get everything done. I get their dishes from their current meal. I usually try and get there around lunch. And I wash everything, get everything all cleaned up, and then I sit down. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little exhausted, And my mom goes, yeah, so we chit-chat for about a half hour. And then I said, well, I got to go. I got stuff to do. And she goes, you never spend any time here. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I actually do spend a lot of time here. It's just in the way of forced labor. I don't want to make it sound derogatory, but Jesus, man. I mean, I half expect to see when they're out there, at the couch watching TV, and I'm in the kitchen doing stuff. They're about to say, chop, chop, hurry, snacks. I mean, that's probably the next process, right? Is after I get done with everything, I bring them out chips and dip, so they have some energy to take a nap. Yeah, right? So I love talking to my mom, but after a half hour, she gives me the guilt shame. Oh, I guess you don't really want to talk to us. I'm like, oh, okay. We're on different sides of the political aisle, so it's not like I can really talk about politics. And, every time I bring up the podcast, she says, is it making any money? And I'm like, well, not yet, And to her, and I don't know if this is what most people can relate to, when you talk to your parents, they put everything in a monetary term, right? If you aren't producing money, if you aren't creating revenue, you're not doing anything. It's just a little hobby. Okay, well, maybe it is. I don't know. We'll just see how it all comes out since I'm not asking to borrow money from them. I don't know what it is they're thinking. So I get in the car and I split. I need a little break. It's Saturday afternoon, like I say. I record this the night before you're seeing it. And I go to see Revenge of the Sith, okay? I was talking to Brother Scott on Off the Rails the other day about it, and we were ranking the Star Wars movies. And I think it's the second best out of the 9, 12, whatever you want to call it. And I got in there, and I'm in the back row, right? I'm all by myself. I got my drink. And there's really nobody in the theater. There's literally like 7 people, right? Of course, we can't put out new movies. We got to reissue movies from 20 effing years ago, okay? That's my cinematic choice on a Saturday. So I'm sitting in the back row, and the theater is configured where they got 2 seats on the outside, the main section, and 2 seats on the outside, on the other side. So I'm sitting on the aisle, and I'm on the top row in the 2 seat. Well, all of a sudden, these fanboys come up. These kids got to be 20, 25, and they sit literally 4 feet away. The whole row's empty. They sit 5 seats in, all of them together. Now, I don't really want to get out on this too much, but if you're 5 guys and the whole row's empty, don't you want a little space? I mean, I'm not trying to be homophobic, but what? What the F is that, right? But, hey, you do you, okay? These kids are probably 25. God bless them. Going to see Revenge of the Sith in the theaters. Support local cinema. That's what I always say. So the movie starts, and they all decide they got to be on their cell phones. Let me give you a little word of warning for what's coming. There's going to be some obscenities here. So I'm just giving you a little heads up here. But effing put your cell phones away when you're in the movie. You can go 2 hours without goddamn looking at the cell phone. Imagine it's when you sleep. Do you set the alarm for every hour and a half to check the status on your cell phone, to see your social media? No, let it go. So I got, 3 or 4 of these guys got to do it. And then they start talking like they're in their living room watching a Netflix movie. So I said, hey, man, we're watching the movie. And the guy at the end goes, oh, yeah. And they keep on talking. Like I was somehow asking him where we were. Like I had landed here from another planet. Yeah, we're in a movie. Don't get the hint. So I'm not as bold as my little brother. He is a gangster in the movie theater. I'm not that brave because we don't have good enough gun control laws in this state, right? So about 2 minutes later, I go, hey, I'm trying to watch the movie. And the guy goes, come on, man, we're just talking. I go, look, we're in a public theater. Now I'm having a rolling dialogue during the movie. I said, man, I just want to watch the movie without your commentary. Oh, and then I got called the old man. No problem. If it shuts you up, effing call me the old man. Give me a walker, give me a cane, I don't care. But if you give me a cane, I'm going to bust it over your effing head. Tell you right now. Okay? But whatever. So finally they keep doing it, and finally I just said, 3/4 of the way through, I'm going to split. I just don't even need this. I was like, wow. And if anybody out there has dealt with that, leave it in the comments. Because you know what? You go to the movie, it isn't your living room. This isn't Netflix. There's other people there. Respect their privacy. It's kind of like I talk about the people who put their cell phone on speaker, and then they have the conversation that everybody in the restaurant gets to hear. So nice of you to share. Do care. All right. That's it for today, my little life section. Always gets the cholesterol burning because they get the blood pressure going. But we're taking no prisoners, telling no lie. We're going to burn it all down now. Here we go. So yesterday we had the Pope's funeral in the Vatican. Of course, I'm still pissed off that Roger Mahoney, the pedophile covering cardinal from Los Angeles, was involved in the casket sealing. But let's move on from that. You can check yesterday's podcast to see how pissed off I got on that one. But we had the Orange Devil, Donald Trump, head over there, and he actually encountered Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, who they haven't met. I don't believe they've communicated since that disastrous Oval Office meeting last month. And Trump has been putting a lot of pressure on Ukraine to settle, give up Crimea, give up the land that Russia currently occupies, been Putin's buddy. But you know what? Guess what? Putin wasn't there. Why wasn't he there, John? Well, because the KGB tried to assassinate the Pope in 1981. because they thought that the newly elected Polish Pope was going to lead a revolution in Poland. He didn't have to, you know. It happened on its own. But, it seems those Catholics have a long memory. Maybe that's why I'm not allowed back in church, right? I don't want to burn that all down, too. But somehow the devil, Orange Devil, was able to transverse in the Vatican without exploding. Spontaneously combust, I think, is the official term. And the devil wears many forms, John. The devil wears many forms. You're right. You're right. And so they actually sat down. We had the photo op. Now, the odd thing about that was the photos came out of the Ukrainian press poll, not the American press poll, which kind of surprised me a little. And they sat and talked for about 15 minutes. And as we have learned, and obviously Zelensky is a very fast learner, he went in and probably did the flattery thing. Like, oh, Don, you look so young. Oh, my God, have you lost weight? Oh, Donnie, fat Donnie. I mean, Don, you're the smartest president ever. I don't even understand how they could have, had a Biden the president instead of you. Yeah, you got that right. Got that right, Zelensky? Yeah, right? Well, it worked. Because Trump, on his way home, posted, wait for it, spoiler alert, it isn't good for Putin. He said that we need to think about increasing sanctions on Russia. He also called it a good meeting with Zelensky. The White House was very, very warm to the Ukrainian, which the Trump administration has been exerting pressure on Ukraine and Russia to come to an agreement. And I think, honestly, the only reason is because Trump wants to get a Nobel Peace Prize, right? He wants to be able to broker this deal. It's funny, I don't see him doing anything over there in Israel. Maybe I missed that, whatever. The White House's official statement was they met privately today and had a very productive discussion. Trump also raised increasing sanctions on Russia. All right, we'll see what happens there. Now, Trump was obviously very remiss and quote-unquote angry. He was so angry, he typed with both thumbs on his cell phone after the Russians attacked Kyiv on Easter Sunday, killing 12 people that we know of and injuring hundreds. He said there's no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas. Yeah, it's called a war crime. Cities and towns over the last few days. Thank God Donnie really cares about people. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. I want you to hear that sentence again. It makes me think he doesn't want to stop the war. No kidding. Like, duh, you dumb motherfucker. Okay. He's just tapping me along, or has to be dealt with differently through banking or secondary sanctions. Yeah, I don't know what this tapping thing is. I think that's probably what he did on the wall when they videotaped your pee video. I don't know what happened there. All right, we're going to wrap it up a little quick today. Sunday, I know you want to get out there. Well, you can carry me with you. You can carry me in your cell phone. That's what happens when you like and subscribe. You're all good, right? Well, it seems like sometimes karma does happen. I've never really been a big believer in karma, but sometimes it just seems like it really comes around. So the Trump administration on Thursday made the decision through executive order to target Act Blue, which raises small donations for and harvest. I hate the word harvest. That's a terrible word. Collects, organizes small donor donations for the Democratic Party. They had on Friday their biggest fundraising day of the year. All right, baby. All right. People coming out of the woodworks. It's funny. After that happened, I had 3 different emails on 3 different accounts, and they were all asking for money. Yeah. So on Thursday, Donald Trump ordered Justice Department to investigate the online donations platform, specifically directing acting AG Pam Bimbo Bondi to look into Republican allegations that Act Blue had allowed straw or dummy contributions from foreign contributions to political candidates and committees. Act Blue is actually the one arm of the Democratic Party that is able to equalize the playing field in terms of money from the billionaires and oil corporations that the Republicans so heavily lean on. I mean, hello, Elon Musk gave $500 million to Donald Trump. And what do we get for it? 112,000 federal workers have been laid off in less than 100 days. Kumbaya. Prior to Thursday, Act Blue had raised $400 million within the first 3 months of this year. Let me tell you something. The best thing you can do for fundraising is have that dunce in the White House. I wish he wasn't there. I wish we were raising $10 because we had such a solid majority. But sometimes there is you get a silver lining. You know, sometimes you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. And in this case, we can make a bundle of money off the orange idiot, the orange bozo clown. All right, that's it for today. I just want to tell you all I love you, that you're wonderful, and that, we're in this together. We're going to win. We're on the side of right, we're on the side of morality, and we're on the side of democracy. And I appreciate y'all. Like I said, leave some comments, hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.